Hello once again, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Off Track TV. Along with Dan Kapuscinski, I'm the voice Shane Andrews, coming to you from the studios here at Weedsport Speedway in Weedsport, New York. And we want to take this opportunity and hope everybody had a safe and enjoyable Memorial Day weekend.
Absolutely. And Shane, we were both pretty busy, a lot of different races to go to, a lot to talk about. We've got a jam-packed show today.
We sure do. And later in the show, we are going to take your questions. And the best way to get a hold of us, info at weedsportproductions.com or on Facebook. Hit us up there. Or you can hit me on Twitter at New York Voice 13, or you can find Dan there as well.
Yep, at Dan_Kapuscinski. We're checking our phones throughout the breaks.
You mentioned a busy Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
Well, I don't think there was anybody as busy as you. I say that because you did pit reporting for both Dirt Vision shows at Weedsport and at Lebanon Valley Speedway. Yep. But on Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, you pulled the doubleheader, 10th in the Classic and 3rd in the Small Block Supers. Congratulations on top 10s in both events.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a long day too. Well, it ended up being 267 laps.
Wow.
Unfortunately, we went from 22nd to 8th and had to stop for fuel with 75 to go, and we were back up to 8th, and then we ran out again somehow with 10 to go. So I didn't quite make all the laps, but it was a lot of fun. Got to wheel Max McLaughlin's car for a little bit. Probably the only time I ever say I can do that. And,
how'd you fit in the seat? You're a little taller.
I was, you know what? I was a little taller, but it was funny. I ran out of brakes halfway through the race. And Mike looked right at me and goes, we had the same problem. I thought maybe they didn't fix it quite, Mike, but they'll get there. And Tyler Thompson, of course, ran up front. He ran out of fuel, too. As it turned out, we were both in the pits on the same lap.
Oh, boy.
Out of methanol.
Well, I'll tell you what, impressive. A 10th in the Classic, 3rd in the Small Blocks.
It was a great day. It was a great day. Thank you.
You know, you talk about a lot of racing action. Not only was Dan busy, but also were the stars on the Super DIRTcar Series, as the Heroes Remembered 100 ran at Weedsport. And we also had the Mr. Dirt Track USA Spring Edition at the Lebanon Valley Speedway. We'll have more of that coming up a little bit later on. But when we return here to Off Track TV, we are going to have with us a champion on 2 continents joining us live in studio. The Batman is in the house. Peter Britten will be here with us when we return.
Weedsport Speedway is home of the fastest cars and biggest stars. With over $1 million in recent upgrades, our fans know this is the premier race destination in the Northeast. The fan experience is at the forefront of everything we do. LED light shows, luxury suites, premium stadium seating, and a 27-foot HD video display to engage and entertain fans. And by the way, our fans, our fans kick ass. They are committed and loyal. They bring their families to races. They consistently engage with us over social media, on our website, and tune into our incredible productions airing on national TV and streaming online. This year features an exciting season of events. It's a blast to go fast. Want to talk to a growing audience and next-generation fans? Customized sponsorship opportunities make it super easy. We have event sponsorships, product sponsorships, digital billboards, web, social, digital ads, race day displays and signage, booths and promotions. Video opportunities both in venue, on national TV, and streaming online. The drivers, the excitement, the speed. The Port Burgers are why fans show up. At Weedsport Speedway, our venue and production are the reason they keep coming back. Be a part of the best season yet.
Weedsport Productions is the live video production company that you need at your next event. Our mobile production truck is outfitted with the most advanced broadcast equipment in the industry. Weedsport Productions covers racing, live sporting events, corporate events, and concerts. We can broadcast your event live, stream it to the internet, or produce an exciting in-venue experience for your audience. Visit weedsportproductions.com now to learn more.
The Chevy Silverado Trail Boss. When you have a 2-inch lift, when you have Goodyear DuraTrack tires, when you have Rancho shocks and an integrated dual exhaust, when you have all that, the last thing you'll need is a road. The Chevy Silverado Trail Boss, ready to off-road, right from the factory.
See your Central New York Chevy dealers.
Welcome back to Off Track TV, here coming to you from the production studios in Weedsport, New York. And joining us tonight, the driver of the number 21A from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, simply known as the Batman, Peter Britten. Peter, welcome to the show. Great to see you here tonight. Thanks for stopping in.
Thank you, Shane. Yep, it's good to be here. It's, anytime you get to sit around with a couple of good dudes and talk about racing, it's always a good time.
Well, let's talk about racing. Let's jump right into it. First thing I want to point out to everybody is that logo on your shirt, Pepsi, new sponsor this year in 2021.
Yep, just trying to accentuate that a little bit. It's big thanks to Mike and the gang over at Geneva Club Beverage, and we're able to strike a deal for racing at Land of Legends this year to try and represent the Pepsi brand, and so far I think we're doing a pretty good job. We've been in the top 5 every week, and hopefully we can snag a win here soon. I was just talking with him today, and 26 is their big event over there. So he told I've got clear instruction, need to be in victory lane that night. So we'll see.
I was going to say, but looking at the statistics, and all throughout the Northeast, you're second in the Hoosier Weekly Tire Championship right now with a win on the season. So aside from the bender on Monday at Lebanon Valley, you've had a pretty good year to this point.
Yeah, it has been. It's this. Any year in racing has its ups and downs, and as you pointed out, Monday was one of our downs, or up and then down, right. But it's good. We've been running well pretty consistently, so hopefully we can keep that going, and not as many wins as we'd like to have, but at the same time, if you keep putting yourself in the top 5, wins will come, and really the DIRTcar weekly point deal is a kind of a reflection of that. I've had a few more races than some of the other guys have, so at this time of year, it's a little tough to judge that totally, but I know we've been up front a lot, and that's just good to know.
Yeah. Speaking of the racing action, not only at the Land of Legends, but you're also calling Friday night home out at the Great Lake Race Place, Albany Saratoga Speedway. Your team, talk about that a little bit this year. Branched out a little bit. You got some guys that have been helping you out that make it a little bit easier traveling up and down the road for you. Yeah,
definitely. That's been a pretty cool deal we've been able to put together there. Spearheaded with Tommy Faxon and. Kevin, John, Susan, Laurie, everybody involved up there. It's, basically last year they kind of came on board helping me out, almost at a lot of races I go to, almost full time. And, but they live 3 hours away from me, and it's a little hard for them to just come over on a Tuesday night when I'm busy, So, this year we had the aim of trying to divide and conquer a little bit, and, we're able to put together a car to leave down there, and and that makes it easy on me too. For a Friday night, I can just jump my pickup truck and head down the road, and driving the 3 hours in a hauler kind of beats up your body a little bit, and it's nothing I haven't done for many years now, but it just, we wanted to try and make things better and be able to, when we hit the racetrack each time, to be the best we can, and that was a way of them kind of helping me out a little bit by spreading the load out, and definitely very grateful for that. And so far, we're running pretty strong at Albany. We got our first win there the week before. We got rained out this weekend, but we're heading on a good path there, and hopefully we can keep running well and snag that championship again.
We were talking earlier, in particular, the Super DIRTcar Series, about how level the playing field is this year. Anybody from 1st through 10th, 11th, or 12th could win these races, so it makes that team aspect even that much more important, especially this season. Yeah,
it does. That them being able to help me with that Friday car enables me to concentrate more on the series races, and also running Saturdays at Land of Legends, and like you said, it's so tight. I mean, you look at guys that would normally dominate, and they have good nights and they have bad nights, and guys you wouldn't so much expect are having better nights than you'd expect them to have, and even my form's turned around this year. We had quite a number of strong runs, and I don't think the order's really found its level yet. Everyone's kind of vying for their position, and it's really interesting.
Being out on the road on the Super DIRTcar Series obviously makes you better when you go back to your local home track on Friday and Saturday nights. However, the guys that you're racing against on the series are also some of the same guys that you're competing against on Friday and Saturday nights as well. So a level playing field across the board, no matter where you go.
Yeah, it is, and it's any track you go to that races big blocks is a tough field, because like you said, you have the Super Dirt Series regulars that have their Friday, Saturday night homes, and But the local guys, they get a lot of laps around their local track, and they're very good too, So it's a challenge everywhere you race. I don't care where you go, Anywhere, any track in New York has got tough competitors at it, and people that are very good in their own backyard. So it's been nice this year. Last couple previous years I've raced Lebanon Valley on Saturday nights, and this season we've transitioned into running Land of Legends, and that's I think that's a little easier on me to be closer to home on a Saturday night, and say you get a rain out, like now I can kind of have a little bit more family time, whereas before you get rained out, you're still 3 hours from home, and even when you get home, it's still it seems like it's 9-10 o'clock still. So that's been fun, and I've enjoyed. I kind of like mixing it up every now and then too. I feel like one of the benefits of running the Super Dirt Series is you do get to get around to a lot of different places, and it stops you from falling into a rut almost, and speaking to a couple of people that are new to the series this year, they're realizing that and saying almost, hey, you know what, I feel like I was in a rut the last couple of years, and now I'm going to different racetracks, and I think it makes you sharper when you get back home too. So that aspect is good, and like I said, so far we're having fun.
We touched on it real quick earlier on, but how are you feeling? Get us up to speed on everything that happened at the Valley on Monday and that up and down ride we talked about.
Yeah, that's not something you want to make a habit of,
right.
Especially at Lebanon Valley. It's honestly, we got very lucky in the fact that our car is still in one piece, really. I mean, as we all know, normally you get in a wreck at the Valley, let alone a flip, and there's no small crash at Lebanon Valley. So. Disappointing on two folds that obviously we wrecked and, destroyed some money, but at the same time, we had a good run going too, redraws have been any kind of draw has been a struggle for me this year, and everyone says they're a bad drawer, but I don't know, I'd like to see someone that draws worse than I do, but, we get a good draw, and, you want to try and make the most of it, obviously, and we were running well. And, unfortunately, something like that happens. And it's hard to tell what happened, what came first, the chicken or the egg. But, it seems like we broke a right rear shock on corner entry, then the frame dug in, and obviously just started going over from there. And, by the photos, it looks like Larry collected me. I mean, I don't really have much of a recollection of that. It was just, kind of bouncing around in the car, and we luckily landed on my wheels. It did knock the wind out of me a little bit, but luckily I'm fine. The car was repairable, and we'll be set to go Friday night again.
Good.
Joined by the driver of the 21A, the Batman, Peter Britten. Pete, you talked about, and you just mentioned about talking to a couple of the rookies that are out on the tour this year. What advice did you give them that you may have received a few years back when you were a rookie out on the tour?
None of the good stuff, I can tell you that. No, it's, and not that so much people come to you for advice and say, hey, I'm running the tour the first time, what should I do? It's more just maybe you'll be at a racetrack where, they haven't been before and you park next to them. They'll be like, hey, what gear you run here? Or, do you run like a certain stagger here or something? Or, you give little bits of advice like that. And, I guess I'm not one of the young guns, but I'm not, as experienced as like the old guys like Decker and Jimmy and all them. Hopefully I don't live to regret that one. But yeah, it's, and I think the people that are out on tour this year, they're a good crop of drivers in themselves and been around for almost just as long as I've been around racing, or even longer, some of them, around here. So it's their first year on the series, but it's not necessarily their first, taste of competitive racing, and but I think, like I said, the talent that's on the series this year is probably the best that I've seen since I've been over here, and the toughest, and that's only hopefully going to make me better, and I think it's going to make a great show for all the fans.
You talk about being over here. Obviously, you've been over here racing now for quite some time. I've always kind of wondered, what kind of ambassador is Peter Britten for the folks over in Australia? Like, how much communication do you have in communication about what it's like to be here and trying to get more guys to come, and just what's that correlation like?
Yeah, obviously people are very curious as to what goes on over here, and I haven't necessarily been, the king of social media over the years, just because, I don't know, I'm a little bit more old school and prefer just to work on my race car and leave me alone. But you know, that's something I'm actually working on right now. And you know, as I, you know, almost destroyed my race car at the Valley, also broke my phone this week. So anyone who's been trying to get a hold of me on social media, you know, that's probably why you can't get me.
You didn't have the phone in the car with you,
right?
did you?
No,
I think that's against the rules.
I swear, yeah. Yeah, no. But, yeah, and it does create a lot of exposure.
Sure.
You know, and just... Even before, I raced modifieds in Australia, but I really didn't know much about the American scene. I just knew there was one, and when I learned about it, I learned I wanted to be a part of it. So I think I've been able to draw more attention to what's going on over here and show a few people. And, you know, I think, you know, there's been more people get interested in coming over here. And, you know, I do wish I could still race at home a little bit more and even just spend more time with my family at home. You know, that's one of the probably the hardest things about being over here. But I do love being here. I love the racing, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Right. You know, I have my 5-year-old daughter, Addison, you know, so she keeps me on my toes too. And
sure.
Yeah, she definitely does. But, yeah, you know, I'm able to try and, if I'm able to, you know, talk to some of the Australian interviews, you know, and kind of bridge that gap between the, you know, the Australian fans and the American fans and try and tie those two things together. And same deal when I do an interview like this, you know, it gets shared to the Australian people and, you know, hopefully there's people watching. Hi, Mom. Sure she's watching. And
better say hi to Mom.
Yeah, I don't do that very often, you know. I wanted to make a point of that, but if I was closer, I'd sign the camera for you. But you know, it's but yeah, it's cool to try and, you know, break down those borders, so to speak, and you know, just try and get people involved in racing and enjoying it as much as we do.
Absolutely.
Well, I can tell since you've been over here, Pete, in the United States racing, you've been a fan favorite. People gravitate you. You've got a great personality, a heck of a race car driver. We always enjoy seeing you at the track and appreciate you bridging the gap, if you will, between the United States and our fans back in Australia and everything that you folks, you and your family have done over in Australia as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, you know, definitely enjoy being here. And, yeah, you know, my family's very involved in racing at home. My brother Kevin is, you know, doing really well. He points it out that he's, you know, won more Australian championships than I have now, you know. But it's that's all good brotherly band. I just tell him, yeah, you only won them because I wasn't there. But, you know, but we can go back on that all the time. But, yeah, no, it's you know, it's a journey that we started, you know, with my dad, and unfortunately he's not here to kind of see where everything's ended up, but I think somehow he's watching, and that kind of makes it more special to me as well, that everything, you know, we've been able to achieve as a family, you know, that's a cool deal. It's not like what I've done coming over here, it's just us as a family and the success we've had racing, and just even if it's not success, just the good times we've had and just how much we all love the sport. It's, you know, that's what really means something.
Absolutely.
You know?
And it's a family of superheroes because Peter's known as the Batman, his brother Kevin's known as the Hulk, and I've affectionately dubbed his mom Wonder Woman. There you go.
Yeah, for her to put up with us and our racing exploits, you know, yeah, she is Wonder Woman because, and even just the unknown people that people wouldn't think about maybe, but you take Lebanon Valley, for instance. I, you know, flipped and she's watching Race Monitor and listening to the, you know, the audio, but the audio I think was 2 laps behind Race Monitor or something. So she's, you know, there's a red, oh, who was it? Oh, it's Peter, you know. Like, so, you know, she's trying to figure out what's going on, and right. it's you know, I'm sure that does take a toll on her as well, and but, you know, you get to live. That's the beauty of this sport. You get the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and, you know, you try to ride the in-betweens as best you can.
The lows make the highs that much better.
They do. They definitely do. Yeah, and there's a lot more lows than there are highs.
Absolutely.
So you've got to enjoy the highs when you get them.
Yep.
Well, Pete, we appreciate you stopping in and saying hello. Appreciate you stopping and being our guest here tonight. Best of luck the rest of the year at Albany, Saratoga, Land of Legends Raceway, and, of course, out on the Super Dirt Car Series.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate being here, and everyone have a Pepsi.
All right. Peter Britten, driver of the number 21A, the Batman, coming to a track near you soon. When we return, we're going to take a look back at the Memorial Day weekend action on the Super Dirt Car Series from the Weedsport Speedway and the Lebanon Valley Speedway when we return.
Weedsport Productions is the live video production company that you need at your next event. Our mobile production truck is outfitted with the most advanced broadcast equipment in the industry. Weedsport Productions covers racing, live sporting events, corporate events, and concerts. We can broadcast your event live, stream it to the internet, or produce an exciting in-venue experience for your audience. Visit weedsportproductions.com now to learn more.
The ground-pounding, earth-shaking beast of the Northeast. DIRTcar Series!
The Memorial Day weekend was action-packed with a lot of racing as the Super DIRTcar Series took to the speedways at the Weedsport Speedway and the Lebanon Valley Speedway for the Mr. Dirt Track USA Spring Edition.
That's right, and Weedsport had a packed crowd, not only in the pit area, but in the grandstands. All of the heavy hitters came to the port on Sunday, Shane, both in the sportsman and big block modified divisions.
Yeah, it was standing room only. Drivers from all over the Northeast coming into town to get back to racing in our first race in the quote-unquote post-pandemic atmosphere.
It was fantastic to see. And without the masks and everything else, we could see those smiling faces once again at Weedsport.
One face that was smiling in the pit area has been pulling duties back and forth across the border, and he's standing by with Rich Vlett.
Well, for many of us, we live close to Canada, but we haven't been there in a couple of years. For Matt Williamson, he's from Canada and he's been to the United States. How many times have you crossed back and forth over the border since the pandemic hit?
Quite often. We've been back and forth probably twice a week since racing's fired back up in April, and now that I'm fully vaccinated, so it makes it a lot easier, and it just gives you a peace of mind that when you go back home, you don't really need to worry as much as we used to.
Talk to me about the process that you have to go through to make sure that you can go back and forth and keep doing what you need to do as a profession.
It's just about getting the paperwork done to prove that you pay taxes on what you win in the States, and that's all that they want. That's what we needed to do to be able to be eligible for a B1 visa, which is a B1 is essentially a port of entry visa, which turns into exemptions for Canadians, so it doesn't even get stamped on my passport. It's kind of a very tricky situation, but when we started racing for Buzz, I had to reach out to lawyers and accountants to make it so that Buzz could write off what he gives me for racing for him. So that turned into the pandemic and made it eligible for me to cross. So, all of it was kind of snowballed into one and made my life easier in the long run.
So you made a lot of trips last year, but you still won, 15 races on either side. How big was that in the midst of everything that was going on to have as strong of a year as you did last season?
Yeah, last year was tough. We hadn't got vaccinated, and when I went back into Canada, I was getting tested every time I went back, and just for the safety of everybody. It wasn't like the government coming over or going back told me that I needed to get tested to cross. It was just peace of mind stuff. It was a distraction from racing. So this year we're kind of focused, all in, and I can go back home and sleep in my own bed after we race, which is nice. And hopefully we can turn things around, because the way our luck's been this year, it hasn't been very good.
That was going to be my next question. One win so far this year. It was a good one, but how eager are you to get back into victory lane, especially in a place like this?
This would be big tonight. Obviously for Buzz and everybody, it would be good to win tonight. It's tough. Another thing with the pandemic is we're not racing every Saturday night at a home track that we can usually pick up a few wins at. So that kind of takes away from my confidence a little bit. And we're racing at places like Fulton last night where we have to start 19th, and winning from 19th anywhere is tough. So that's one thing we're looking forward to getting back to normal with, and a win tonight would kind of make that a little easier on us.
Last thing, how different is it being back at home and then coming here in terms of protocols and everything? Is it just like, wow, I'm in two different worlds?
It really is. We went for lunch today, the Dinosaur Barbecue in Syracuse, and there was capacity limits and stuff, but we walked in with no masks on because we're vaccinated, and ate lunch and walked out. And meanwhile at home, you can't even go out. It's takeout only. There's rope down aisles in Walmart. The prevents you from buying kids' toys or shoes or video games and stuff like that. It's two separate worlds, and it's unfortunate that, you know, we're so far behind at home. Then it really has its effect on citizens, and you know, I'm looking forward to getting it back to normal.
As we all are, as he looks to go just a little bit quicker and get his second win here tonight.
Well, Dan, there was a packed house here, a lot of great race car drivers, but there was one thing missing, and that was all of our friends and competitors from the great country of Canada.
Absolutely. Very interesting conversation, though, there with Matt about how he's been able to make it work back and forth, but the racing won't quite be the same, Shane, until we have all of our fans back here as well.
That's right. Let's go racing. Let's take a look at the highlights from the Weedsport Speedway Heroes Remembered 100 for the Super Dirt Car Series. Jimmy Phelps in the number 98H and the 91 of Billy Decker brought him down to Dave Farney's green flag.
That's right, Shane. The boss man was up there on the pole at the redraw. He said, you know, I don't know if I want to be there. There's only one place you can go, and Billy Decker kind of made quick work of that here early on.
Decker in the red number 91 down on the low side of the speedway, tiptoes underneath Jimmy Phelps to take over the number 1 spot, and from then on it was all Billy Decker. What a great race car he had.
Yeah, it certainly was, and I'll tell you, Shane, quite a few people I had talked to, we were like, man, it really felt like Weedsport of old. Perfectly smooth, that glassy surface, and 83 straight laps of green flag racing. It's the longest stretch I can remember ever seeing in a Super Dirt Car Series race.
And it was the Billy Decker show. He had an 8-second advantage at one point. He had lapped up to the 13th place car. That's how strong and dominant he was in this event. And then, as you mentioned, on lap 83, the caution came out. Todd Root slowed. Decker chose the inside for the restart, putting Matt Williamson on the top side.
He did, and unfortunately for Decker, that allowed Williamson to get the momentum on the outside of the racetrack, and Matt was able to cut down in front of him here in turn 3. And just one of those things, Shane, where you've got a 50-50 choice, and sometimes you make the wrong decision.
But Decker would have another shot to reclaim the lead as another caution came out with 15 to go, but Williamson was up to the challenge. But the battle behind them, watch Stuart Friesen in that 44 going after Justin Harris and Jimmy Phelps as they battled for position. But Matt Williamson, once he got in front, he checked out.
It's just kind of how the racetrack was. You had to get into a rhythm. Billy had the momentum, Billy had the rhythm, and then Matt had it at the end of it, and he was able to bring it down to the wire.
Matt Williamson picks up his first Super Dirt Car Series win of 2021 as Billy Decker crossed in second. T-Bone Justin Harris rounded out the third-place podium on Victory Hill. The next night, the Super Dirt Car Series drivers packed up their show and they headed east to the Lebanon Valley Speedway, the spring edition of the Mr. Dirt Track USA 100, $13,500 to win.
That's right, Shane. And one of our recent guests, Kevin Root, qualified for his first Super Dirt Car Series race. He drew the pole position.
Boy, I'll tell you what a place to get your first pole position
Absolutely.
start. And that's at Lebanon Valley. In this event, it was Stuart Friesen jumping out to the number 1 spot, but the battle behind him was with Andy Becchetti in the 4 car and the 88 of Matt Williamson.
Absolutely. These two drivers went back and forth for a good portion of this event. Most people, I think, had kind of written the check to Stewie Friesen starting up there on the front row, and it certainly looked like he was going to run away with this one.
The video compliments of Dirt Vision that we're watching here tonight from both Weedsport and Lebanon Valley, but making his way to the front slowly and methodically on the bottom side of the speedway was the 9S of Matt Shepard.
Matt looked really good on the bottom side, and I kind of knew he felt good after the redraw. He drew the 10 spot, but it didn't seem to affect him one bit. I think deep down he knew he had a hot rod on this night.
He is a former winner of the Mr. Dirt Track USA event in 2016, the September version, but because we didn't have one in 2020, we're having 2 this year. He takes the lead from Friesen, and then a few laps later with 19 to go, Friesen up in smoke.
Yeah, I thought for a little bit there Friesen might try to milk this thing to the end, but you'll see it ends up erupting down the back straightaway, almost like an NHRA funny car. Stewie wasn't sure if it was a power steering line or an oil line that came loose, but it was enough to put him out.
Super Matt Shepard will pick up the win at the Lebanon Valley Speedway, his first series win of 2021, $13,500.
Yeah, a good one to win, but man, kind of like what Peter was saying, you get Matt Williamson, his first series win on Sunday, Matt Shepard, his first on Monday. Like Stuart Friesen kind of had a stranglehold on this whole deal, and now everybody's kind of starting to catch him up.
Yeah, we saw Stewie break off 3 in a row, then Tim Fuller at Bridgeport, and now Williamson and Shepard with wins. We've got one more segment left for you here for Off Track TV. When we return, Dan and I take your questions when we come back.
Weedsport Speedway is home of the fastest cars and biggest stars. With over $1 million in recent upgrades, our fans know this is the premier race destination in the Northeast. The fan experience is at the forefront of everything we do. LED light shows, luxury suites, premium stadium seating, and a 27-foot HD video display to engage and entertain fans. And by the way, our fans, yeah, our fans kick ass. They are committed and loyal. They bring their families to races. They consistently engage with us over social media, on our website, and tune into our incredible productions airing on national TV and streaming online. This year features an exciting season of events. It's a blast to go fast. Want to talk to a growing audience and next-generation fans? Customized sponsorship opportunities make it super easy. We have event sponsorships, product sponsorships, digital billboards, web, social, digital ads, race day displays and signage, booths and promotions. Video opportunities both in-venue, on national TV, and streaming online. The drivers, the excitement, the speed. The Port Burgers are why fans show up. At Weedsport Speedway, our venue and production are the reason they keep coming back. Be a part of the best season yet.
Weedsport Productions is the live video production company that you need at your next event. Our mobile production truck is outfitted with the most advanced broadcast equipment in the industry. Weedsport Productions covers racing, live sporting events, corporate events, and concerts. We can broadcast your event live, stream it to the internet, or produce an exciting in-venue experience for your audience. Visit weedsportproductions.com now to learn more.
The Chevy Silverado Trail Boss. When you have a 2-inch lift, when you have Goodyear DuraTrack tires, when you have Rancho shocks and an integrated dual exhaust, when you have all that, the last thing you'll need is a road. The Chevy Silverado Trail Boss, ready to off-road, right from the factory.
See your Central New York Chevy dealers.
You just saw it on the promo, but I want to remind everybody as we come back to Off Track TV Live, our next event here at the Weedsport Speedway, Sunday, June 13th, the Sportsman Classic, 75 laps, $2,500 to win.
Yeah, certainly one of the crown jewel races in DIRTcar Sportsman Racing. Always fun to watch here at the Port.
Big blocks and 358s will also be on the card, along with the 600 sprints as
right.
well. So make sure you pack them up and bring them down here to the Port. All right, Dan, we've got some questions some folks have thrown out to us tonight.
Let's
you ready?
hear it.
Okay, Slow-Mo Joe. Okay, hi, Joe. Wants to know, will there be more than 59 sportsmen for the Sportsman Classic on June 13th? We had 59 this past Sunday.
Yeah. I say absolutely, especially with this event happening a little bit earlier in the season. The race cars are more fresh. Guys haven't gotten into too many jingles per se. So I'm going to say there'll be 67 cars at that race.
Oh, that's a good number. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to take the over on that. I'm going to say we're going to be pushing 70.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah, I think we're going to have more than 59 as well.
Definitely.
Captain Obvious Fan 4, wants to know, who will win their first Super Dirt Series race first? Tim Sears Jr., Jack Lehner, or Chris Heil?
Oh.
Yeah. This is a tough one.
I almost hate to pick one because they're all right there for me. So
I'd like to see a flat-footed tie between the three of them across the line.
They're all so committed and keep getting better and better every time out. I don't know if I had to say a name, I'll say Chris Heil because I don't know. He came out strong at the Valley. Finished fourth at the Valley. Never even been there before.
Yeah.
But then Timmy Sears Jr. also had an amazing run going, and Jack just runs well all the time.
Yes.
So any one of those guys.
So at the Valley alone, if we just based it off of that, Heil finished in 4th, Lehner was 10th, and Sears came from 25th up to 8th at one point.
Right.
Boy, I'll tell you, I have to agree with you. I think it could be Heil, but I also think it could be either one of Lehner or Sears as well.
Absolutely.
So that's a politically answer, I guess.
We're for them all.
Yeah, we're for them all. Exactly. Rex Winton wants to know. Rex Winton, I wonder if he coached in tight end at one time. Who's your pick for the Sportsman Classic? Ooh.
Oh, man. Who is my pick for the Sportsman Classic? Boy, Gibbs was awful tough.
Yeah, Matt
getting
Guerry.
that first win. You know, obviously he started up towards the front. I'm going to go with the guy that was on the promo, Zach Sabatka. You know, consistently in the last couple of years that we've had events here at Weedsport, he's been the guy that's kind of on the second tier that's trying to get by the Dave Marcichellis, trying to get by the Rocky Warners and the Kevin Roots. Those guys have all moved on. I'll go with Zach Sabatka.
You know what makes this question difficult for me is the fact that we didn't have a full sportsman season last year.
Correct.
To be able to see if there was going to be a sportsman driver, like you said, a Kevin Root, a Dave Marcichelli, a Rocky Warner that seems to have that competitive edge over everybody else. But in Central New York here right now, I'd have to say it's either going to be my pick, Matt Guerry or Matt Janzik.
Yeah, Janzik, for sure.
And you can't count out Zach Sabatka either.
No, and it comes down, and again, that field is so close. You got to get in the redraw first and foremost, and then even though it's 75 laps, we saw with the racetrack the way it was, so smooth and competitive, it could go green to checkered. You never know. So track position will be key.
And congratulations to Matt Guerry picking up the win in a green to checker 25 lap sportsman drivers. Hell of a job on Sunday night. Look forward to seeing them. Well, Dan, we'll do it all again. The next edition of Off Track TV will be Thursday, June 17th. And in the meantime, I guess we're just going to have to go to more races.
Right? Yeah, exactly. It's not going to hurt my feelings any.
That's right. Mine either. For Brett Moses, our producer, and everybody here at Weedsport Productions, a big thanks to Peter Britten for coming in, for Dan Kapuscinski. My name's The Voice, Shane Andrews, saying thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at the races.